Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story with Igdalia. We have with us a professional fighter, Billy Goff, who trains out of Dexter MMA and is currently 8-2. Billy, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Congratulations on your big achievement this year. How does it feel?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. Knowing that my next fight's gonna be in the UFC. My name's gonna be. I'm gonna be on a card, and it's really cool. It's been a long time coming. It's what I wanted. We're not nowhere near close to being done, but it's a step in the a step closer to what I want. A step
Yeah.
closer to my dream.
So, what is your dream?
I want to be the best that's ever done it.
Okay. I see it happening. I see it happening. Um, I mean, let me tell you, it's so amazing just to see all of your accomplishments from day one up until where you are right now. There is no surprise. I've seen people go on the show, and I'm just like, I don't really know. With you, it was just like, okay, yeah, it's gonna happen. There's really like no question about it. And like for those who don't know you, one thing about your team is that you do not fight just anybody. You guys pick the best of the best because you guys want to challenge yourself. Now, when you saw that process, how did that feel?
Like the process of fighting the
Picking the best
yeah.
all the time.
So it was no, my coach actually. He would have done thing. He would have gone a little slower and would have picked a little better. Not better, but a little differently with my pro career than he did with my amateur career. The amateur is always about fighting the best so that you can get the most experience as possible. Because when you go pro, it doesn't matter because you go pro, you go back to 0-0. So who cares if you lose a bunch of fights to really good guys? Um, the and at first it adds a little more anxiety to the whole process, knowing like, all right, I'm not fighting bums, I'm fighting good guys.
Mhm.
So at first it's okay, it adds a little more anxiety, but eventually it calms some of that anxiety, knowing that I've been in here with a bunch of killers.
Mhm.
I'm prepared for everything. I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to get shocked. I'm going to be ready for everything that comes out.
Yeah. Now what did you do for work? Or what do you do for work?
So I work as a draftsman for a
Oh,
company that builds submarines. I also own my own business, shrink wrapping boats.
wow. Now, when you applied for your drafting, were you as stressed and did you have as much anxiety as you did when you were competing for the contender series?
No, not even close. Everything else in life is so much easier now after becoming a fighter and fighting for a while. Like everything else is so much easier. The anxiety is like I used to get anxious going to wrestling tournaments when I was
Yeah.
younger. Now when I go to wrestling tournaments, it's just this is whatever.
That's awesome. When you started this year, 2022, did you anticipate that this would be happening?
So not exactly when I started. I did because so at that point it was right before I fought for the CES welterweight
Mhm.
title, and I was kind of hitting a point where like because all my previous fights it was like all right, I win this one and I'm gonna get a shot at something. I win this one, I'm gonna get a shot at something, and not getting shots after them kind of made me like all right, whatever, just keep winning fights and what comes will come. So I wasn't really thinking about that whole year as in yeah I'm gonna be there this year, but once I won that one and then I started talking to an agency right before the Sumter fight.
Mhm.
It was like, all right, yeah, something's gonna happen this year.
How was the feeling when you got that call?
It was it was weird because there we got a couple different calls. We had options for short notice
Mhm.
fights straight into the UFC, and we had the contender series as an option. My coach thought it was the best one, and so once we agreed to it, it was like, oh shit, like this is
Mhm.
this is happening. This is my shot. And it was like we agreed to it like 3 months out.
Mhm.
So I had a ton of time to just sit and think about it, and it was a lot. There was a lot more weight to it than I had
Mhm.
thought. It. Uh, so it was amazing. It was cool. It was exciting.
Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, you work so hard. You got two belts. Was it two or three? I don't. Three. Okay. My
Three.
bad.
No, it's welterweight, CS welterweight, and CS middleweight.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I knew about the welterweights. I didn't realize it was also a middleweight. Um, how does that feel? Like you have all these other fighters who take belts and then they're just like, whatever. But this was your journey. This was your path. Like you didn't even get a chance to really defend any of them.
Nope.
You just took them and you went straight to the okay, let's go.
Yeah, it was a little hard too because like I know Cage. I was getting close to defend. Had I not fought Sumter, I probably would have defended the Cage Titans one.
Hmm.
Because they were asking me to, and
Hmm.
I was planning on it. But I also, when I got the first one, because it's hard to defend a title at one of these smaller organizations because the division isn't as stacked.
Hmm.
There's not. It doesn't go as deep. Um, so in my head, I was going, all right, belt, 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 belt,
Yeah.
just so I can get as many accolades as I can, as many little stamps of achievements, so the UFC would call me.
Hmm. Now, are there any other fighters from your school that have gone to the UFC?
Nope, I'm the first one.
And how does that feel?
It's a huge honor to be able to represent my gym uh, on this huge of a stage, and to be able to also pave a path for the rest of my gym. So now it's going to be a little bit easier for you guys to get here. So and to be able to to do well for my coaches
Hmm.
and show how good they are and let that reflect in my performances. I'm really I'm honored to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like one thing that I've always seen is not many people know where you train. It's like a hidden gem in Connecticut. Um, so when people see Dexter MMA, they're like kind of like, or they overlook you guys as fighters because it's not a known gym, not known as Lozons and not known, as all these other known gyms. Now, then you guys turn people down. You know what I mean? Like, no, because you guys want to fight the best. So now you have this, and this is from my point of view. All right. Like, for people who don't know you or your school, they look at it as like, oh, well, they really don't want to fight. And it's like, no, no, no. They want to fight the best because iron sharpens iron. You guys want to fight the best. And so anytime I heard like, oh, somebody from Dexter MMA turned down this fighter, it's like, oh, okay, then I already know like the style of your gym. You know what I mean? And it's just like, or when I hear, oh, I'm fighting somebody from Dexter MMA, I was like, oh, like you need to be honored. Do you know what I mean? In the sense, like they don't just fight anybody. So if they're selecting you, that means that you have potential. Like you are actually there. Like you can sharpen their like your style, or if it's like if they're better in boxing, if they're better in Muay Thai, if they're better on the ground, like you're challenging yourselves to meet and see what it is. And a lot of people don't know that. So it's like it's great to see that Dexter MMA is actually on that path to people recognizing all the hard work and dedication because your coaches do a lot, and that's one thing people don't want to look at. It doesn't mean that you guys don't have that the
Yeah,
quality.
and like we if we accept a fight with someone, it's okay. We respect your ability
Hmm.
in some capacity, and it's not a the re like my coach had a few fighters. He's had a few fighters in and out of the gym. He's had points where he had a bigger team
Hmm.
earlier in the world, kind of the world of MMA.
Hmm.
Things weren't as big. The but like tons of people recognize my coach, but when you like when you look up gyms in your area, it's hard to find our gym
Hmm.
sometimes. It's I mean, we're growing it, it's getting better, we're getting a bigger and bigger name. Like at Cage Titans, people are knowing us more and more.
Hmm.
Uh, People know us more at CS. We're growing the name of the gym slowly
Hmm.
but surely, especially now that we're getting even more fighters out of it.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of it is like that image of, oh, these guys come to fight.
Hmm.
These guys are tough. These guys want the best fights. They don't take fights against puds.
Hmm.
Um, they always step up to the plate, and that's just awesome to see.
Hmm.
Just watching people's commentary when they're when one of our teammates is fighting. It's just we love it. It's awesome.
I love seeing when I see the gym on any roster that you guys are going to be fighting, because I know that you guys are training the best. Like your mindset is to be the best. Looking back at your fight at the Contender Series in August, I know you were disappointed because you wanted to perform your best, and the beginning wasn't exactly the way you anticipated it to be. Do you still feel that way, or have you seen a different perspective?
I'm a lot less mad than I was in the moment when I was right afterwards. It was just everything that I thought had happened.
Hmm.
So I didn't really know exactly how the fight looked.
Hmm.
And I still got the finish. I was just upset because I wanted to come out. The biggest thing is if you listen to the commentary where Michael Bisping talks about him being a great, him being great at this, um, him being like complimenting his striking and his skill, and he was eating me up. Uh, they think I prefer like boxing, which just isn't true. I throw everything, and that wasn't the light that I wanted to be portrayed in, and that was what was most upsetting about the whole beginning of the first round. Going back and watching it, I realize now that I did a lot better than I
Hmm.
had initially thought. Um, so I am less bothered by it now, for sure.
Yeah, no, because it's difficult when you guys are in the cage and you're performing and you know, how you feel and what you are seeing, because you're just seeing one side of it, is different than what everybody else is seeing. Like now you have that, the attachment, the feelings behind it. Like, crap, I was supposed to do this, but I didn't do that. So now that I say that, how does your mind quickly process? Like, you got kicked in the head. I would have just been out. Like, I probably would have seen the leg go, and I would have just thrown myself to the ground. Like, like the goats do, they just throw, like, play dead. I would have done that. Um, but how is it that your mind quickly transitions and you just got right back? Like,
Um, it wasn't like I wasn't. I was. It was jarring, but it wasn't like I was wobbly.
hmm.
The biggest reason why I got sat to my butt was because I was on one leg,
Hmm.
and I was throwing a kick, so I had no good balance underneath me to take a shot that hard. Um, but it was just, I mean, when anything, it's just you're in that mindset of fighting, and you just keep going. Everything's off of instinct. So when it happened, it was just adapt, just keep moving.
What advice do you have for those that are training and their dream and their goal is to eventually have a UFC contract?
The biggest thing is you got to make this your life. Like it's hard to do. You got to sacrifice a lot. You got to There's so many family gatherings and so many friends gatherings that you miss doing this just because you're constantly working in the gym, constantly working out, working, pay your bills while you're on top of that. And it's not easy. It's not easy going to Thanksgiving dinner, not being able to eat a bunch.
Mhm.
I mean, it's easy. It's one of the
Is there any fight news coming up?
nothing set. I've been pressuring them about giving me something in December,
Yeah.
but they haven't yet. So I mean, I'm just kind of sitting and waiting.
So how does that work for you? Because now you're waiting. When before you would be like, all right, well, I'm fighting it, I'm fighting it, I'm fighting, and now it's like, how are you adjusting?
It's kind of good to not think so much about the fight itself or someone specific and
Hmm.
train to be better. And just like, all right, this is what I'm working today. This is what I'm working this week. And just focus on getting better, getting stronger, getting faster, getting crisper with my technique, um, stretching, and just doing a good routine in general. and not worrying about some end goal. I mean, for so much of your life in fighting, you have very much so highs and lows because I have a fight scheduled.
Mhm.
That's all I'm going to live for right now. Then it happens, and then you have nothing to live for because it's just like I have nothing to do. Not really nothing to live for. You have like you have no end goal right now. It's just I don't have a fight, so what am I going to do? Um, but it's good to just put getting better as the goal for now.
Is there a sense of relief knowing that, okay, now I'm signed with the UFC? I don't have to worry about anything else at the moment. It's just being able to focus on that.
To a certain degree, I'm sure grabbing boats, so that season is kicking off.
Mhm.
So I have all of that to do and whatnot, but that's not the end of the world. The so that's a bit of a stressor, but outside of that, like I don't have to worry about okay, I don't have to defend any titles. I don't have to worry about climbing ranks anymore. It's just I'm
Yeah.
here. You just got to do this right. So in a lot of ways, yes, it's not the hardest part of this, but it's just things build up, stress builds up, and you just gotta make this your center point and just drive towards it. And that's what I've done. Is just put it in drive and just keep it going, keep it pushing.
Before we conclude with this interview, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Yeah, follow my Instagram, Billy M. Goff, my Twitter, Billy M. Goff as well. Follow me on Facebook, it's Billy Goff MMA. Follow my team's page on Facebook and Instagram, Team Dexter Valley Tudo, the Rough House. Um, follow. A huge thank you to my sponsors, Nummy's Bakery and the Cardboard Kids. They're continuous sponsors of mine, and I really appreciate their support.
Awesome. So it's Dexter Valley Tudo.
So it's called Team Dexter Valley Tudo on Instagram. On Facebook, called the Rough House.
And I've been saying Dexter MMA.
Everybody does it.
I'm sorry.
Outside, all the promotions do it. Everybody does it.
That's where I got it from. So I was okay. So my bad.
No, you're
That's
good.
on me for not doing my proper research. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.